You're listening to the Heroes Power Hour presented by BlizzPro.com. Your host, Balrog fan, Zexorus, and DJ Tyrant. What is up, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Heroes Power Hour for 2017. We are the Heroes of the Storm podcast, brought to you by BlizzPro.com and partnered with Lenovo Gaming and Intel. I am your host, DJ Tyrant. With me, as always, the wonderful crew. Let's start with that blue bomber over there in the left corner. Balrog fan, aka Mega Man. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good. I'm wearing my awesome Christmas gift. Quite happy with it. Although this thing gets hot very quickly, so I'll probably be taking it off.
Is it a onesie or is that just a hat? I feel
it's
like
a hoodie. Okay. It's a hoodie.
There you go.
It's a zip up.
I think I'm good.
So it's easily like hidden.
There you go. Yeah. It's been a while since we had a show. How have you been? How have your games been? I know you've been playing a lot of Warcraft, as I have been as well. We've had a couple groups go, and it's been a lot of fun.
No, it's good to find. I feel like I'm progressing towards like end game content for the first time in a long time in Warcraft. I've been having a lot of fun with that. Kind of just on a hero's hiatus at the moment. I'll be back soon though. I got to do my placement matches. I get the itch to play, and I know that I'll be back in within a week or so.
For sure. Did you get a chance to play any of the brawls at all? Because there were a couple of cool brawls that have come out recently.
I know. I've been neglecting them. They slip my mind. I'm like, they get announced. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play that, and then
Friday comes along.
Yeah, it's Saturday morning rip.
Yeah, pretty much. Going over to the other side of the screen here, Zexorus. How are you, my friend?
All right, had a pretty good Christmas. Got a new chair. I like it. It's a great chair. Other than that, I've kind of been taking a break from Heroes, playing some other things. I played a little bit of World of Warcraft here and there. Friend got me back into Tree of Savior. Ugh. If anyone's ever played the old Ragnarok online, it's like that, but it's grindier.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, been playing a bit of that. Picked up Street Fighter V again, because I'm stupid. But it's, I mean, other than that, I've been playing the new Brawl, and it's an ARAM. It's an ARAM with camps.
Okay.
So there's a lot of dumb stuff that goes on in those.
It sounds like it.
In those camps. Oh, God.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it's definitely on my to-do list before Friday. That and trying to finish out my winter game so I get that stupid portrait and mount. Because I know if I don't get it, I'm going to be mad at myself for not picking those things up. That's
a thing still. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think it ends tomorrow.
Yeah, it ends on the 4th. Yeah.
I know Nexus challenge ends tomorrow. Is the winter thing tomorrow too?
Yeah. But P-Flame G, how are you? I know you've been also hit by the Warcraft bug quite a bit, and are you continuing the trend of telling us you haven't played any heroes at all lately?
I've played some heroes. I've got a friend who he basically started playing again because of the Nexus challenge, because he plays a lot of Overwatch and he wanted the Genji skin, but I got him to play the next 30 games. We played some after that too. So it was fun. We'd play some late night heroes. We'd run Mythic Pluses on WoW until like 10 o'clock, and then people would go to, like Eastern people would leave for bed because they had work in the morning, and then our friend and I, 'cause we're both on winter breaks, we're in college, we stay up late playing heroes a couple nights, so that was fun. But I played some of the Silver City with Willie today. We lost every single match. It was great. Most of them have pretty terrible comps. There's probably one that I don't know. I don't remember them. I'm sure there was one we should have won, but we lost them all. It was bad.
Arthas is a bad hero.
Oh my goodness.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. So
says the guy with 14 deaths on Arthas.
Wow.
Yeah,
so interesting stories.
It was a train wreck.
Yeah, and as for my 2 weeks in gaming, it's been a lot of Warcraft. The Hearthstone bug hit me again, so I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone and heroes here and there. I played a couple of my placement matches for Hero League the other night and went 2-1, so felt good about that, thankfully. This Artaeus was yelling at me, even though he died like 10 times, and I was on Sylvanas. I can't heal you, man. Like, why are you yelling at me? But yeah.
Maybe he just thought you were a reskinned Tehran.
That's possible. Definitely possible. But let's get into the news. I mean, we could have probably had a show last week, but we're going to move it into this week because Blizzard's releasing a new hero tomorrow. So those of you watching live, this hero is going to be hitting tomorrow, like I said. But those of you listening on the podcast.
So it's hitting live and not...
Yeah, it's hitting live.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Going straight to live. No PTR for this hero, but if you don't know who this is, well, let's show you. Zul'jin. His toolkit is completely up on the hero's site right now, so you can go ahead and look at that. If you're watching if you're listening to the audio, I'm showing this on video, so check that out on YouTube or Twitch. But we're seeing his skins and another assassin into the game here. With a very interesting toolkit that really comes online, the lower health that he has. His heroic trait, Berserker, activates to increase basic attack damage, but consume health, and gives you a passive attack speed buff for every health missing. So this is really interesting here. I'm really interested to see how this plays out, but we'll go quickly through the primary abilities. Grievous Throw, throws an axe, does damage, and marks him for bonus damage as well. Twin Cleave, throws 2 axes in a circle arc, dealing damage and slowing enemies, and regeneration. So he gets a full like regen. It channels, but so moving or taking damage will interrupt this effect. There is a talent that makes this so you can move with it, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, and then his heroic abilities, Tazdingo, makes him unkillable for 4 seconds, and cannot be reduced to less than 1 health. And then Guillotine launches a massive axe in the air that drops in the target area, dealing a bunch of damage that is higher the lower his health is. So I'm curious what you guys think about this. Powerhour fan, I know you had commented on the pre-show about how you're worried about what this means for solo players.
Yeah, I'm always a little bit hesitant to really get excited about heroes who need to take risk, and are encouraged to. Obviously, his trait does that, and Tazdingo kind of encourages that as well. I think a lot of his kit looks very cool. Grievous Axe, or I'm sorry, Twin Cleave looks really cool. A lot of potential with that ability. I'll have to see him in action, but I'm not that excited to see such a popular character like Zul'jin have a kit that requires you to play risky. I think he's going to be great in focus comps and teams that work together a lot, but you might have some bad times with the random guys you get when you're playing quick match or Hero League by yourself.
Yeah, most definitely. And Zexus, I think I know what you might be saying here. This hero feels vaguely familiar to a certain other MOBA hero.
Yeah, so I'm gonna break it down for people who may be coming over from other MOBAs to kind of put this guy in perspective. He's Huskar with a dash of Legion Commander and a pinch of Beastmaster. His trait functions exactly the same as Huskar's passive, which is increased attack speed at lower health. The axe throw, that's the pinch of Beastmaster, and the regeneration is the touch of Legion Commander. So he's gonna be incredibly deadly. Taz Dingo, 4 seconds of potentially 99% attack speed, and then you pop your trait at the start of that for 25 extra damage. That's gonna be terrifying if you stim drone that. And okay, let's do
theory crafting time. I know where you're going. I know where you're going on this.
Stim drone Bloodlust guy's gonna be at full health before it ends.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be absolutely disgusting.
I'm starting to wonder though.
And the MOBA's Dota 2.
Does Blizzard have kind of a hard cap on attack speed in this game? I don't know if
I was just wondering that the other day. I'm like, there's got to be a hard cap. There's got to be a point where you can't attack any faster. Other MOBAs have it.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think if anyone has tried that, and I can't think of anyone that has. So I'd be interested to see if someone does come out with this.
I think the highest attack speed we've gotten on anybody was an Enraged Sonya with Stim Drone and Bloodlust going. And she just obliterated everyone around her. Now, I'm thinking...
Wait, did we do that like a year ago or something? We put the silly comp together, and it was just gross?
It was like...
Okay.
and ETC buff.
Oh, yeah.
But now I think...
I remember this.
I think the highest attack speed buff you're going to get before he drops tomorrow is going to be...
Variant.
Level 20 Varian, Stim Drone, Bloodlust, ETC. Help me out. There's got to be one more person who buffs attacks.
I don't think there is.
I don't think so either.
There's got to be.
Ariel.
Doesn't Ariel gives attack speed? Or what about Taran?
You can talent into it, yeah.
Okay, so Abathur at the end. Or Abathur or Oriel, whoever.
I don't know what the other percentages are. But
I think that's going to be the max attack speed. Like, I'm not counting Tracer because like Stim Drone doesn't really work that well with because
of the reload mechanic. Yep,
exactly. Now you could probably fiddle with that and take the sleight of hand where it's doubled, the reload speed is doubled, but that's still meh. I think
you get diminishing returns on attack speed because of a fixed reload time.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I'm thinking Variant is. I think that's going to be the. God, I love theory crafting sometimes. I think that's the max attack speed cap. Is that little combination?
But I don't think there's because I know in League it's 2.5 attacks per second. You can't break that no matter how much your buffs are supposed to break it. If your numbers are supposed to say over 2.5 attacks per second, it doesn't happen. I don't know if Dota has something like that.
I think it does. Yeah.
There's a hard limit.
There is a hard limit in
but
Dota.
I haven't heard anything about that in Heroes.
Yeah, and that's...
And the thing is, they don't display your stats.
Normally I just tweet at Justin Browder and be like, hey, man, is there a hard speed attack buff? But I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, but unless you're counting, there's no actual way to measure, did your attack speed pass a certain point or level off or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because your character panel or anything doesn't really show attack speed, I don't believe.
Yeah, I'm thinking Uther's going to be this guy's Uther or Medivh or anybody like that is going to be
Rhaegar. You start that Ancestral when he's 2 seconds into his invulnerable, they can't kill him, and then as soon as that ult runs off, he's full health again.
That's true.
I mean, he's not getting passive buff, but he's a full health guy who just got 12 seconds of full. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty. And
he'll benefit from Bloodlust.
Is he
or whichever ult you pick? Ancestral or Bloodlust both work with him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is he a ranged?
He is ranged, which is what surprised me. The first time I looked at him, I thought he was going to be melee.
Okay, that's not unsurprising to me because of the Huskar thing, but that's kind of surprising to me because it's Heroes. And I would have thought for sure they would have... God, that's going to be filthy.
No, because I come from a League background, which is why I keep referencing this stuff. And there's a guy with an ult like his, where he can't die for 6 seconds and he's melee. And, he does disgusting damage late game. He can't die. It's so frustrating. And the thing is, you kite him. right? You CC him and you walk away, and that's how you deal with Tryndamere in League's case. And it was like, oh, that's what you got to do for this guy. And he's going to stomp lower elos because they're not going to kite him. They're just going to sit in his face while he can't die. But he's ranged, which makes him a lot more deadly.
Yeah.
A ranged assassin who can't die for 4 seconds is really, really strong.
Have we seen his his basic attack range in action?
I don't. I mean, I'm sure the videos are there.
Yeah,
but
there's been a couple
specifically
preview
for what the
videos.
attack range is.
Because that's going to be determined on just how deadly he is. If he's got like Vala range, okay, we have a problem. But if you have that, it's going to be a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
So that's my thought on how he's going to be taken care of and possibly guided or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think he's going to be really strong, and I think players who can effectively use his passive to kind of get him lower. You can use your trait, but not be, on the brink of, oh crap! If they get a stun on me, I'm dead before I have time to ult, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a really fun hero, and he has a vaguely high skill cap because his W's a skill shot, and it's a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not like the hardest hero in the game, but he's a risky one.
Yeah, high risk, high reward. I had a thought and I lost it, and it was about Taz Dingo. Now, okay, now I got it. So we're all talking about Taz Dingo's going to be so good, blah blah blah. Watch Guillotine be the ultimate of choice.
Guillotine's going to have to do a lot of damage to beat out Taz Dingo.
Watch Guillotine get more value than Taz Dingo. Because we all thought, hey, Resurrect's a great idea. Nope, Crystal Aegis every game. Like as silly as even the light speed 20 upgrade for Resurrection was, and how cheesed I was about that ultimate upgrade. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Go, get some angel wings and fly across the map. Hey.
Yeah.
I want Resurrection to be a thing so bad.
It would be nice, but it's just so hard to pull off. And yeah, Zul'jin looks really solid. I'm actually really looking forward to playing him in the game. And the other thing we didn't really talk about, because Ghosty Gamers actually, I don't know how they got this, but they got the full talents for Zul'jin. We'll be probably going over those more next week as we get some playtime in, but there's a lot of really crazy stuff that they're giving to him. Like I mentioned before, Forest Medicine,
that
the
level
regen.
1 passive.
Yeah. Which one? Arcanite Axes? Or you want Axe? Okay, so you want Axe. Yeah. Every 5 basic attacks used against heroes increases your basic attack damage by 1.5 upon reaching 24 stacks. You permanently gain 20% range.
We were just talking about how range is a huge deal on this guy.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'll link it in Skype for us. Hold on one sec. But yeah, 20% range is just
that's 100.
insane.
That's 120 hits on heroes.
That's a lot.
I mean,
But
it's going to take you more than 5 minutes, but you'll hit it at probably around 13, 16, I would assume. It's not going to... It'll be at a point where it matters.
No, my math sucks. I don't know. You're the college kid.
It's what? It's 5 times... 1.5 is 3, 8, 16 times 5 is 80 basic attacks.
80 basic attacks?
Yeah, it should be.
Sounds right.
That's better. That's better than my numbers. Yeah, no, that's almost. He may be a solo laner.
He might be.
I'm thinking about because he's got regeneration. You get low. Oh no! Run behind the wall. And then you're back at full health and you run back out.
No, it's Taz Dingo.
No, I mean you troll regeneration early game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what
for
trolls say. I don't really play World of Warcraft trolls that much.
They say, I spit on the horde. Sorry.
When's Warcraft 4?
When's Marvel?
But Yeah, 25% of his maximum health over 4 seconds. You take Troll's Blood at 4, and that's 75%.
Increase
so you're
on
basically
the
like
25.
45% of your health.
No, it increases regen healing by 75%. So 75% of the 25%.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's probably 40 to 45-ish%. I'm not doing
So
exact-
you literally get half your health back if you take that. That's solo laning easily. Because Let the Killing Begin doesn't seem that useful to me.
Mhm.
It seems like a lot of attack speed for 10 seconds, but like once you team wipe them, it's kind of useless at that point.
Although Headhunter,
seems nice,
yeah, that will be interesting.
but who takes upgraded Illidan ult?
I mean, this is a level 4 talent.
Your quest is to kill one
All-
of each person on the other team,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
or
activate it.
7.
The question will be how long
Yes,
the
I think
cooldown
so.
is.
Yeah.
I think I broke Carl's brain when I said 7. Lost Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings.
Oh,
that makes
okay.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all unique enemy heroes.
I don't know if that would be a counter, but that'd be a pain in the butt to do. Like, you just
Just throw him behind the wall.
you know what you do is if you do pick Vikings against him and this guy goes Headhunter, you just hide one of the Vikings behind the wall the rest of the game. He'll never finish the quest.
Oh
I
my
think you might
gosh.
be overthinking a possible counterpick to a possible talent choice on a hero who probably won't take this talent.
Leave me alone. Let me have my fun.
I think the other talent to really kind of talk about is at level 13. We were talking about Forest Medicine, where the regen no longer has to be channeled and damage still breaks it. But Voodoo Shuffle, it's an active ability, and it's basically cleanse without the unstoppable element.
But it doesn't remove stuns.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
That's true.
It slows and roots,
Slows and
which
roots.
are more common than stuns. It'll be dependent, If you're getting kited because they have, like a Jaina or something that's preventing you from getting in there, that's gonna be amazing. If
It's probably going to be like on between a 30 to 60 second cooldown though.
yeah, but cleansing that once is enough.
Mm-hmm.
The Eye of Zul'jin looks kind of good to pass up at that level.
Well, that's the thing. Aya Zul'jin and Voodoo Shuffle are both anti-kite.
Yeah.
If they're kiting you just because you can't reach them and they're running away or whatever, Aya Zul'jin, hit your stuff, move fast, whatever. If they're kiting you through actually like slowing you and rooting you, then Voodoo Shuffle is going to give you a lot more value. So it'll be yet to be seen. Because damage still breaks the CC, I don't think Forest Medicine is going to be all that popular. Because
I don't think it will either.
yeah,
I mean, I want it to be, and but I think Eye of Zul'jin's gonna be the one to go to overall, just because of that movement speed buff. But no, level 7, Recklessness. That's probably gonna be the go-to in actual
probably.
games.
Yeah.
In like Hero League games where you're gonna have a healer, like that one's probably gonna be the go-to, just because that will combo beautifully with Taz Dingo on top of his passive, so you're getting 50% extra bonus damage on your auto attacks at that point for 4 seconds at least, and then your Rhaegar, whoever, just puts you back up to 60-70% of your health, and you just keep wailing on people.
Yep. It's going to be strong. It's going to be ridiculous.
Overall,
Oh, God,
we're
Ferocity.
Ferocity is interesting.
40%? Why?
Oh my goodness! Because
Now,
they want you to break the attack speed barrier, I guess, on this guy.
Do you think at level 20, like everybody's going to go, yeah, Amani Resilience is the one to take, but then it slowly gets revealed that Ensnare's actually the pick?
I think Ensnare is actually the pick.
It'll depend on the cast speed.
Mm-hmm.
And
the range on
projectile
that.
size.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the action, because a root is powerful. But if it's impossible to hit because it moves slow or the hitbox is tiny, then if it moves fast, if it's got a really big area where you can root somebody, then okay, yeah, Ensnare's gonna be good.
I'm gonna be mad if it's a net the size of like a baseball or something. Net.
Yeah,
It should be about the size of an enemy hero.
since it's a level 20 talent, I think it's going to be pretty powerful. I feel like because you're giving up the Amani Resilience or Buzzsaw at that level as well.
Because the reason Greymane picks Go for the Throat, not Mark for the Kills, because nobody can hit the skill shot, right?
Yeah,
so if nobody can hit the Ensnare skill shot,
that's it.
Then Amani Resilience is the go-to.
Yeah, but I think Ensnare is going to be the chase down, is going to be the chase down skill.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that one hero who hung around too long, and you're in range to throw the net, and it's a kill, and you just kind of roll off from there. So
yeah, it's going to be one of those late game securing kills talents, but that can win you games because of how high the respawn timers are late in the game.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the way they revealed it on Facebook, where you could like or smiley face? You could use.
I thought that was cool. I thought that was
kind of
really
neat.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody really wanted to know the trait too. Like that was what got asked for first. I think that's kind of. Oh, go ahead.
Well, that's kind of like the building block of the hero right there. Is the trait. Like you want to know that first. What is baseline on this guy? You know.
I mean, there are some traits that aren't super relevant to the hero, but
excuse me.
This guy definitely it is though. Once you know his trait, you know how he has to be played. So
Super aggressive.
Yeah,
I like revealing heroes multiple ways. They did the drawing, I think, for Samuro. They did this thing. It's really cool to do different reveals in different ways.
They still missed their chance with Chromie by releasing.
I know, or
Chromie
Rag.
and Rag, either of them.
Either would have been great. Yeah, but yeah, now we're again at the point where we don't know anything about the future of what heroes are coming out. So.
In his raid, Ragnaros, this guy Executus summons him, and he's not fully powered yet. So he yells out Executus, you've summoned me too soon.
And then he kills him.
And then he kills Executus, and then we kill Rag. But releasing him early would be amusing.
Would have been funny.
For those reasons.
But Zul'jin coming out tomorrow. Going to be a lot of fun, shake up the meta quite a bit. But we wanted to go ahead and do another meta report here. We're going to go down the support roles. We were going to do this our last show, but figured with Balrog fan out, we needed to have him on the show for the support role breakdown. So we're going to just start right off the bat with Ariel. Where is she fitting into the meta right now? She's been pretty strong once people really figured her out, and especially pairing up with some of these high auto attack heroes. Do we still feel she's actually in a pretty good spot right now?
Charlie, go.
Yeah, I want to go with a Bahar fan first, actually.
Mr. Chooch is here. Never mind. I really think Arya's in a good spot. I've seen her picked a lot in my games, and especially if your team can aggressively move forward and is making the offensive plays and is pushing into the enemy team and they're generating that hope, she's really powerful. She kind of suffers from the same kind of thing as Sylvanas, where she's really strong when you're ahead, and when you're behind, it's hard to do much, because if your team's not doing a lot of damage in the team fight, she doesn't have heals, and so you lose them even harder. When you're running away, she doesn't offer much except for her knockback. So I think she's pretty strong, and the Crystal Aegis is a powerful ult, but
yeah, I mean I like her, but she's definitely fallen out of the meta a little bit with the kind of changes to Malfurion as well as Rhaegar, who we'll be talking about a little bit later as well. I still like her. I think she's a really solid support, but like you said, it really requires a team that's constantly either poking or wave clearing, and she has to be in lane with those heroes or nearby them for her effectiveness to be of any value, really. So I'm interested to see what they do to her going forward. Because I do like her. I do like her toolkit. And I don't know if Revive is ever going to be any good.
I want it to be a thing. God.
Herdenstevnist.
What? Oh, stop quoting Overwatch on this show. I caught that. It took a minute for it to roll around. Like, what did he just say? Quote Mercy.
Oh, geez. Okay. So I actually looked on Hotlog, and she's actually really far down. I didn't realize how low her win rate was now. 44.7%. The only supports below her are Uther and Tassadar.
I think she's harder to use, personally. I think she takes practice, and your team has to know what she can provide. When those things are present, she's very, very strong. The only thing I'll say about her is there's not a lot to be desired in her talent pick diversity. There's a pretty much already picked path for you on most of the levels outside of 16 and 7, which can be frustrating sometimes for a hero. But that doesn't really say anything about how good she is. I think she's a solid pick, but you have to be hesitant when picking her. You got to make sure your team knows what Ariel can bring and if she's going to actually complement that team. She really, really excels when she can give somebody that attack speed buff too at 16. So
she pairs very well with Gul'dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gul'dan. Anyone that has really solid range poke, she definitely, I feel like, shines with that hero.
I mean, right now everybody pairs well with Gul'dan because he's really good, but Oriel specifically likes Gul'dan.
All right, so moving on, we have Lieutenant Morales now. She definitely saw a huge impact when she came out. Right now, she's currently at exactly 50% on Hotlog, so kind of middle of the road, but I'm interested to see how she goes moving forward because of this meta we're kind of in right now, where it's just a lot of sustained damage, and obviously Stim Drone is going to help a lot with that. So, Powerhour fan, I'll send this to you. What do you
There's
think?
another train.
Oh, there's another train.
It's
gosh.
quiet. It's quiet, so if it decides to get loud, I'll just cut the mute because I don't want this showing up on the audio. But yeah, I think Morales is one of those heroes where if you can somehow get her near the end in like a draft setting, she's very good. If you're playing quick match, she's very good because teams have to be prepared to counter her. Otherwise, she's can be largely attributed to a win for a team if you can never get to her, because she almost makes some heroes feel invulnerable, especially heroes that are a little tanky on their own and don't mind jumping on people and doing damage. So I think it's all just dependent on if you can get her late in the draft, or if the enemy team doesn't see her coming, then she's really good. If you take her too early and the enemy team counters her, she looks useless.
Mm-hmm. Carl, what are your thoughts?
Well-supported Illidan can ruin her day.
Yeah, definitely. If you're able to dive into the backline and even just moving her out of position is enough to really shut her down. You don't necessarily have to kill her, but she's pretty easy to blow up if you get on her.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that I think a lot of people don't realize is killing Morales is not always the way to win the team fight. She is vulnerable. She can't heal herself, right? So killing her is good. But if she's positioned really far back, her healing is not an invulnerability. She has a lot of healing, but it can be damaged through. And sometimes that's the right call. And I think the hard part about knowing how to deal with Morales is knowing when it is the right call to just DPS through her heal, or when it is the right call to dive on her and put her in a position where she has no way out. But she is a good healer. And there are definitely situations where she just feels untouchable, and so does their team.
Yeah, it definitely compliments her when she has someone like back when Li Meng was good, like standing next to her back there dropping bombs on people as well, while some frontliner like Muradin or whatever, or ETC is up there getting heals and making it impossible to get through with a semi-ranged DPS or something following
Yeah,
that.
I mean, like diving past a Diablo with Thrall to get to Morales is not your best idea.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess like Ariel, pretty comp support or comp dependent support, and like our fan was saying, you don't necessarily want to pick her up too early on and tip your hand that you're going Morales. Zach, do you have any thoughts on Morales that you want to talk about? As you're muted.
He's muted.
I'm muted. Of course I'm muted. Why wouldn't I be muted? Morales is a pub stomp hero. She's a low elo hero. Like Charlie said, like picking her last in a comp is pretty much going to guarantee you a win, especially if it's the right kind of comp, which would be auto attacking. She doesn't perform well in mage comps. She's absolutely terrible in mage comps. Like she has incredible disposition tools at her disposal to push enemies back into the loving arms of your team, or get that.
Peel.
She has incredible peel for having essentially no escape. You might die, but you might save somebody else on your team in the process, because you're Morales. They're going to focus you at low elo. Like that's. Everybody focus Morales, guys. We've all heard that over and over again. Like Carl said, sometimes that's not the right call.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just power through her healing. And like she's fun. I've got her to master. She was probably one of the more fun heroes to play in quick match. Just because of all the silly sniping you can pull off. Because that grenade, it's got a ridiculous range. Like that thing, it's like Morales. One of Morales' descendants was Peyton Manning or something. Like she just chucks that thing.
That grenade goes so far.
Yeah, like Jimmy's
thinking.
experienced it.
Yep. That I have.
But she's fun, but they're honestly better healers.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But moving on, we have Lily now, Chen's favorite little sister.
Cousin,
whatever.
Niece.
Whatever she is.
Niece.
But Lily, the panda packing healer in Heroes, I feel like I almost never see her played. What do we think of her in the meta right now? She's kind of just been mediocre for a while. I mean, we saw her like once at HGC and then never seen again because it was a counter to Illidan.
She's been mediocre since, I don't know, Kael'thas patch?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, maybe a little bit after.
So, oddly, I think she's in a good spot. I think she's in a better spot than most people give her credit for because Carl and I were talking about this earlier, it being a sustained damage meta right now over a bursty mage meta.
Mm-hmm.
And Lily loves stuffing sustained damage. She's got those blinds. It's going to stomp on a lot of heroes' good time. She does actually do decent healing. You just have to be really on point with how you position yourself. So you're healing the right people and not, the wrong person.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree. I think she gets a lot more hate as a bad pick than she actually deserves. I don't think she's as good as some of the top tier supports, but I don't think she's far from being like just this underutilized bad healer or underbuffed bad healer who doesn't work with teams. Her blinds and the ability to how quickly she can pump those out and pump out sustained heals to counter sustained damage. It's very effective. And if you can, stay out of getting stunned out of Jug, it's probably the best healing ultimate in the game. I would
agree with that. Could just be because of the range and B the amount of healing it does. I mean, it's even better than Tranquility because Tranquility is relatively small compared to Jugs, I feel.
I believe Trank can actually put out more healing, but Jug can focus its healing on one health member. Mm-hmm. So,
again, coming back to the positioning point.
Yeah. She's definitely, I like I said, I don't think she's as bad as most people will say she is when she's brought up, but I think a lot of that is because she's not really utilized properly a lot, and I don't think people generally want to pick her compared to, heroes who have obvious advantages like Brightwing and Rhaegar and Malfurion and Karazhan even.
And speaking of Malfurion, that's the next hero we're going to talk about, actually. He's been kind of on top of the meta ever since his minor rework. Maybe minor rework is too small of it because it literally catapulted him to the top. He did get some changes though, so he's not quite at the absolute tippy top right now, but he's still a very highly contested pick in most matches. Definitely the most picked and most banned hero across the board right now. But provides really great healing, and the roots obviously can really help your team. And then as well, the Twilight Dream being the pick right now is just to shut down enemy comps and really swing the tide of team fights pretty rapidly when that's used. So obviously he's my favorite hero in the game. He's been my most played hero. I really like where he is right now. I mean, he's dropped off a little bit, but he's still very, very good with the rolling hots. Basically able to provide healing to 3 or more heroes at once because of the amount of time the hots last from his Q. I want to go to Balrog fan again. What do you think of his spot in the meta right now?
For a while, I thought he was too good. I still think he's really strong. I think Rhaegar getting buffs helps that a lot. Because with so few supports, you don't want to have like 1 or 2 dominant supports because you can create choke picks during draft where, okay, either one person gets a top tier healer or nobody gets top tier healers. And I don't like that style of drafting, though it's very effective and you should do it if that's the case of the meta you're in. But yeah, I mean, you hit all the high notes, Jimmy. He's got great heals. He's got probably the best long range route in the game, especially after you get Grace of Elune. He has arguably the best utility ultimate in the game. I don't even think that's really arguable, actually. I mean, maybe Sylvanas' silencing arrows.
Wailing Arrow is better because it's ranged. Twilight Dream has a bigger radius, but he has to get in the middle of people.
Yeah, but it's still amazing.
It's still really good.
Considering you can take a not healing ultimate on him, and your healing numbers are still completely fine. So yeah, I mean, he's just, if you can get him because he's going to give you a good chance to win. He's probably, I know Rhaegar is up there a bit right now, especially because of the meta that we're in. But if you can get your hands on Malfurion, you give your team a good chance to win.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm enjoying the spot he's in right now. I've been really enjoying playing him lately. And another sport I've really been enjoying has been Brightwing. Brightwing, it's kind of in an interesting spot right now. She's pretty good. She's not terrible. She's not amazing, though. So she's not in that like tier 1 support picks like we were talking about earlier. But she provides the global presence that is so important, especially on these bigger battlegrounds as we go forward. Especially stuff like Cursed Hollow and Warhead Junction is just so giant. It allows you to soak a lane and then jump up for an objective as needed. And she's also really paired well with Dahaka. We've talked a bit about this on the show before, but Dahaka has seen a lot of use lately as well. So I think Brightwing being a part of this meta is partially because of Dahaka as well. So I really like where she is. She brings a lot of really great utility, and I think the recent talent reworks have helped her a little bit. Giving her that new bribe talent is really interesting. Obviously, you're not going to pick it up all too often, but there are situations where that is useful for your team. Zex, as a Dahaka player, I know we've talked about the Dahaka Brightwing combo. What do you think of that, and what does that bring to the meta for Brightwing?
Well, it brings a nice global dominance to your team. You've got 2 global heroes that can be anywhere on the map in the cast time is like 2 seconds on the both of them or something like that.
I believe so.
It pretty much means that at any point in time you have a minimum 3 heroes. So no one is really truly solo laning really at any point. So, and that's just an absolutely deadly combination. Like, I don't know how many times this will like my love go mid, wait for some poor schmuck to come out of the gate, lick them, drag them back, and then they get polymorphed. I don't know how many ETCs I've killed because as soon as the drag's over, they've tried to charge in a certain direction and then polymorphed by the Brightwing and they get popped. It's a really strong combination because the drag is like 1.5 seconds or something like that, 2 seconds, and then you add polymorph on top of that. That's like 4 seconds of just you're not of single player mode. You're not allowed to do anything on your hero, and that's always just an incredibly dangerous situation to be in. And on top of that, like you said, I want the bribe talent to be a thing. I wish it was more. I just wish bribe in general was more viable because Brightwings is literally the easiest one to get. Hey, go get injured and run back, and I'll get bribe stacks.
And I think, to be fair, I think on certain maps it is very viable. I like it on Dragonshire, to be honest. Getting those maps or getting those camps very quickly during a rotation, or being able to pop up to a big fight, it's pretty useful, especially if you've got the lane pushed out and you're looking for extra pressure.
I like it on Tomb of the Spider Queen, personally.
Okay.
Because that's a fight-heavy map, and you're almost always going to have at least 2 stacks up when you want it. And go grab the siege camp, run off. Done.
Yeah.
So I just wish Bribe was just more viable in general. Like there are certain things. I think Wingman, that's the Falstead Bribe
sounds
talent.
Sounds like Falstead one, yeah.
Yeah. Where like now talents like that I love because it's a bribe and it's a benefit to his charged lightning or whatever it's called, where that actually gets stronger over time.
Right.
So, I just think, what was it? I think Nova's is something like the camp respawns quicker or something like that if she uses bribe on it. And I don't remember what Brightwings was, but I think I'm going to look here in a minute. But just the bribe talent on her is underestimated in my opinion. I think
I would agree with that.
I think it has more benefit than people think.
The only thing that's tough to give up is that increased range on your passive heal. If it wasn't on the same level as that, I'd be more likely to take something like Pixie Charm. I think it's good, but Unfurling Spray is amazing.
I just miss the days of being able to activate her talent.
Yeah.
the broken days.
Yeah, as you know, she's always been one of my favorites. I really enjoy healing with Brightwing. I like having a global presence. I'm really looking forward to when Zul'jin arrives and people are going crazy with Taz and I take increased polymorph time and polymorph them for 2 seconds during Taz and then they just come out as a critter, like vulnerable and ready to die. That's going to be very pleasing for me.
That'll be fun.
That's actually a really good point. Going back on Zul'jin, actually, like polymorphers are just gonna have their way with them.
She's really the only one, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could catch Malf with the root.
Yeah, but basically CC during Tostingo, same thing as Trendemir. You lock him in place, you get away from him, and you negate it.
Yeah.
But it's harder to do on a ranged person.
Correct. Yeah. Brightwing's one of the few that have, her teleport though, so she's very with Blink Heal, she's able to take risks for Polymorph and Blink Heal back to her group, which is one of the reasons that makes her good. It's just about patiently waiting for the right time to Polymorph. A lot of people use Polymorph way too frequently, including myself. I'm
totally guilty of that. Moving along, though, we're going to talk about Uther, who I feel like is just not a good spot right now. I know, Bauer fan, you've played a lot of Uther. What happened to him? Like, they had the talent changes there where the W, I think, being better, and people just started doing the W build over the piano build, that I like to call it, and he just totally fell off. Was it the rise of Malfurion that really kind of pushed him down to this kind of obscure spot that we really don't see him anymore?
Well, nothing changed about Uther, really. He's the same he's always been. Piano build's still good. It just doesn't work in this meta right now. He doesn't provide enough healing with the long cooldowns that he has to be relevant where damage sustain is really a thing, or where mage is blowing people up is really a thing. And we went through 2 phases of that. He's better at dealing with blow up damage just because he has Divine Shield. He can cleanse. He can throw big heals out and sort of.
He's made for a burst meta. He's awful in a sustain meta.
Yeah, but there was a moment there where the burst meta was out of control when Li Ming first dropped, and Keltis was still really good, and Jaina was as good. It was hard to even justify him there compared to healers like Brightwing and at the time when Malfurion first got his buffs as well, they were so good.
I mean, basically the other healers have gotten buffed to the point where their healing out heals Uther. And now the one thing he brings is his burst healing. He has Divine Shield. His Q is like half of your health bar. But he can't deal with a Gul'dan. He can't really deal with a Tychus. He can't really deal with a Raynor. He can't deal with a Lunara. So...
Yeah, he just doesn't have what it takes to survive in this meta right now. I don't think picking him is bad if the enemy team isn't going for full sustained damage for whatever reason. If they're going burst, or if they're going kind of like trying to do some strategies that involve around stun lockdowns. Because that's where he always shined, where you can Divine Shield someone out of a danger combo and then just turn the fight around on the enemies. Or if you were going dive heavy with someone like Illidan or Thrall, but yeah, he doesn't fit. It's not that he's bad, he just doesn't fit. So I guess that makes him bad.
In this meta,
yeah. I hate saying his kit worked for me for so long. I love the piano build. I love the reactive healing you had to do, and how sometimes you could make some really great plays with it, but not the place we're in right now.
Yeah, not the place anymore. Speaking of changes for healers, Karazim also got some significant changes recently. He has a DPS build now, but as well, his healing is still really strong, and he is number 3 in Hot Dogs as far as support is concerned in win rate. So I would say he's in a pretty good spot. I haven't played him lately because how this meta is right now. After first ban phases, you're either getting Malf, Brightwing, or Rhaegar, it seems like at this point. That Karazim, I just don't pick him at this point just because of where the meta is right now. But he's in a very good spot, clearly. He's been a lot of fun to play. Just he's in a good spot.
I think he can heal good. Like those allies at level 4 were amazing changes. They gave him early options that allowed him to snowball his presence in lane early on, and still attribute to late game healing or blocks or whatever you're using. I mean, initially Earth Ally was way too good to pass up, but from what I've seen, it seems that Spirit Ally is actually a very good talent. So.
Yeah, everything about Karazim, I'm absolutely in love with right now, and I'm gonna link a video in chat and watch that video, and that's pretty much my feelings on Karazim. He's I don't like him as a main healer. I absolutely adore him as a DPS who can occasionally heal. Just the build, just the DPS build is so much fun. Just because nobody expects Charism to just like straight up 1v1 in Illidan. Or other melee assassin. Like, it's just wonderful just to catch people off guard, and then you realize, oh my god, this Charism's actually putting out 30k hero damage in a 15-minute game. What plan am I on all of a sudden? And on top of that, he's got like 35k healing. What is this nonsense?
Yeah, exactly. That's the unfortunate thing about him, though. Like you were saying, he's not necessarily the greatest solo healer. In this meta right now, it's all solo healers right now, and that is the focus. It's not that we haven't really seen double support lately. The double warrior is a thing still, but double support is a thing that has just kind of fallen off the meta map right now. So I think he's a good spot. I like him. It'll be interesting to see if double support does come back in the meta at some point, which I'm sure it will. Watch out for Charism.
I hope it comes back to the meta.
Yeah. But speaking of meta shifting heroes, Rhaegar once again is Rhaegod, with the highest win rate right now currently for supports, and there's a lot of different things that could be attributed to, but I think we all are in agreement that Bloodlust is the big thing that changed for him. Auto attack heroes have really come up in prominence and sustained damage. We were talking about this a little bit before the show, but sustained damage plus Bloodlust equals bad team fights for the other team. So I think he's in a really solid spot. Almost too powerful, but we'll have to see how that plays out with Zul'jin coming out as well. But his damage got buffed, so he's able to play a little bit more aggressive once again, which I think is what people really liked about him. It was about, I think, last year at this time where Rhaegod became a thing, or maybe a little bit later into 2016. But yeah, I actually haven't played him since the changes yet, so I feel like I got to get back in and play Rhaegar once again. Ballard fan, what do you think of his spot currently as the top dog of supports?
Boo. I think you got to have more than two good supports. So I'm glad to see Charism and Rhaegar work their way back into the rotation of pickable support heroes. Yeah, I mean, the change to Bloodlust, you know you're doing something right when you change a talent, and it swings its pick rate completely in the other direction. 75% win rate or pick rate is huge, and combine that with the fact that Ancestral Healing isn't as needed right now, because burst healing isn't really a thing in a sustained meta. Not to mention, ever since he's not been able to Ancestral himself, it never felt as good, because you kind of know who to focus when someone can't Ancestral themselves. So, yeah, I'm glad to see what he's doing. Making him the aggressive hero he should be is a good choice by Blizzard. So,
yeah.
When I got into this game a year and a half, I don't know. Whenever I got into this game, I was basically watching all these tournaments that were going on in the beta, and I wanted access, but I didn't have access. And I watched the ESL tournaments cast by Solid Jake and Kubi, and I watched Kings of the Storm. I just ate it up, and I really enjoyed it. And I remember there was this one game, and it was probably, Barrel Boys and Cloud9 and Tempo Storm were the kings back then. And one of them, it was back in the days where Tyga's Vala were the OP assassins. So it was really far back. And it was a best of 3, and in game 2, Dunk Train or Cloud9 broke out Bloodlust, and it just blew the caster's mind. They're like, "Oh, what is he doing? What is he?" And like they steamrolled the game with it. They won the whole thing. They forced a Rhaegar ban in the next game. They got Tychus out of it, which was a big deal, and it was insane. And like I remember that tournament vividly, that I watched a year and a half ago. That was probably like ESL Weekly number 10. You know, just because Bloodlust was such a huge deal, and so I'm really happy Bloodlust is back in the meta. It's a really fun ability where you just go hard, auto attack, you sustain up. The team fights are just chaotic and crazy and intense. And it's a lot more like ancestral clutch heals are fun. But like when you see a bloodlust happen and the enemy team's running at you and they're bigger and they're faster, and it's awesome. It's a really fun moment.
Yeah, it most definitely is. So let's continue on into the last two supports here who've really fallen off the meta, I feel like. We're going to start with Tassadar, though, who is basically non-existent, I feel like, in most games. Taking a look at his stats on Hotslog, he is really not picked at all, with a 6.5% popularity rating and a 43.2% win rating. And this is just more along the theme that we were talking about, that this sustained meta, just Tassadar doesn't really shine in it. You don't need the shields to prevent some crazy bursts from happening on heroes, and Tracer has fallen off the meta, as well as Illidan, I feel like, as well. And those were two heroes that really greatly benefited from Tassadar. And I think also to a degree, Zarya being added really, really hurt Tassadar, because now you have a tank that can also give shields to your team. So what do you guys think? What can be done with Tassadar, and is a rework kind of needed to help him out?
A rework? No, I don't think there's anything wrong with Tassadar. I don't think there's anything wrong with Tassadar. I just think people are trying to shove him into into the wrong comps. Like, I don't think he needs to be shoved into a double support comp. Like, you're taking away potentially better damage for a second healer not named Kirazim.
It all loops back to Kirazim.
It does. But I really don't think there's anything wrong with him, especially not in this meta, because you're not. It's like we said, sustained damage meta, and Force Wall is an absolutely amazing way to screw up sustained damage comps. You split the team, and now what was working just a second ago is now not working. And usually that's all you need to capitalize on that. And Force Wall, again, probably one of the best control ults in the game.
I would definitely agree with that for sure.
It's wonderful at blocking off escape. It does so much so well for doing no damage, just pure space control. So I know I'm sure everyone will disagree with me at this point, but no, I don't think a rework's in order. Maybe some buffs, but definitely not a rework. Nothing like a Kirazim rework. I think his abilities are just fine.
That's what this discussion is for, so we can have debates like this, where I think he needs a rework and you don't. That's perfectly fine. That's why we have this show. Powerhour fan, I'm curious of your thoughts, though.
I think you kind of hit it with saying Zarya. I think the big one, especially at the competitive level, is Medivh replaced everything Tassadar can do well, and probably does it better with displacement, mobility, survivability, great shields, scouting. Medivh is just better at that. He might not have the same tools, but in the competitive scene, he's better than that. And then in the casual scene, they basically took gadgets or I'm sorry, they took, huh?
No, keep going.
Oh, they basically took the best things about Tassadar and combined them with Gazlo and made Zarya, and she feels very strong in like casual games and stuff.
Hold on. Can you explain your analogy a little better? Because that made no sense to me, bud.
The shields and the grab bombs.
Okay.
Yeah, the grab
One
bomb.
hero shields and grab bombs. Because Gazlo's best
Gazlo
thing
has
is
the-
the setup for his ultimate that his ultimate provides. Not as much range as Gazlo's, but
Okay.
this in no way kills turrets.
Okay. All right. I'm with you now. I was lost for a minute.
Need a little
You helped
clarification.
me find me.
When they combine two things into one hero like that, though, it makes it very easy to grasp, especially in just kind of like basic, normal play. And Zarya, ever since the release of Medivh and Zarya, that's when Tassadar's popularity really plummeted,
Mhm.
even though his kit hasn't really changed in a while.
Yeah,
what were you gonna say, Carl?
So I'm looking at Hotslogs, and I pulled them up, and if you sort by talent builds, the actual right talent build has a 53% win rate.
Mhm.
So is he just losing because people are bad at picking talents?
Yes, that's exactly what it's telling
Because
you.
I think Tassadar's fine. I think he's good. I think you can
Thank
pick him as a
you.
second support.
Our worst player agrees with me.
And I think if you wanted to change Tassadar, you need buffs to the static charge and the Archon and stuff so that his DPS build is viable again. But make it so that, it's on the same tier as Callous Embrace and Force Wall and stuff, so that you can't be the amount of sustain he gives right now and a bunch of damage. But I would like to see damage Tassadar be an option.
Mhm.
I
Especially,
remember split push Tassadar was a thing.
yeah. But I don't know. I think Tassadar's fine. And like I said, the only changes I would make would be design-wise. I think I would like to open up a more damage-focused build potential for him. Because that's what he had. Back in those days where I was talking about Bloodlust, Archon was always picked, and he was a force to be reckoned with. You ran away from that Archon.
Yeah, he used to be one of my go-tos because of the damage. He was my favorite mage character because he just played him like a mage. He filled that role before Jaina existed. He was very fun, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think he's not bad. It's just one character does what he does and is easier to grasp and feels more effective, and the other character, Medivh, is just really valued at high levels because of the potential playmaking abilities compared to Tassadar.
Medivh is really, really good.
Yeah, and we could see a month from now when HGC is started up that we're all wrong, or me and Charlie are wrong about how bad Tassadar is, and the pro teams have figured out something new with him. So we'll have to see. With this meta is ever evolving, so it could be fun to see.
Barring Blizzard buffs and nerfs, which will bound to happen and mess up the cycle.
Yeah.
But double support beats sustained damage.
Mm-hmm.
So if the meta just naturally progresses, we'll see more double supports. That with these unkillable team comps where my Gul'dan and Raynor can't actually kill anybody when they have a Tassadar Rhaegar on their team. And then you get mages because they can actually kill somebody with a Tassadar Rhaegar. And then you get tanks. And then you get sustained damage. And
the cycle continues.
Yes.
And we're going to round out our support meta report for supports with Tyrande, as she is the really kind of interesting hybrid support that we saw getting a lot of play around this time last year. This time last year was right before Heroes Rising, so we saw a lot of those Diablo Tyrande comps, and Power fan getting tilted by by those comps, which is totally fine. But she's
everyone was getting tilted.
No, everyone was, yes. But seems to be in an okay spot. She's at 50% win rate, but she's not picked very often. But she still provides a really good, stun with her her E. I forget what it's called. Why can't I think of it? Someone help me out here.
Lunar Flare.
Yeah,
Lunar Flare.
Lunar Flare. And both her heroics have validity in being chosen, especially Shadow stock with the heal on it now, which is a change that happened a long time ago, but definitely something that helped her quality of life. She's pretty much middle of the road right now between all these supports, so I don't ever play her because there just aren't enough bans right now that I'm ever forced into a Tehran support play here. So I honestly don't know where she is in the grand scheme of the meta right now. Powerhour, what do you think of her and where she is right now?
I mean, the name of the game all night we keep coming back to it. Sustained damage is king right now. You're seeing her come back just a little bit because she's good at that. She adds to the sustained damage, and she's not required to contribute this giant burst heal that's needed because a lot of people are kind of just needing to be topped off. They're using abilities that allow them to regenerate their own health, things like that. So I think she's going to be in a decent place. She's definitely not a top-tier support pick, but she lends herself to this meta well. And obviously stunning out primary damage targets like Gul'dan and being able to lock them down with a Hunter's Mark is always very, very helpful.
I'm going to straight up disagree with you.
Dang.
I think Toronto fits in a burst meta because of her stun and her trait. Her heals aren't that effective in a burst meta, but when you pick Toronto, you're not trying to play defensive. You're trying to go aggro. You're trying to say, I want to blow up this particular person as fast as humanly possible. And that's what she's picked for, which is why I don't think that's that low play rate Jimmy mentioned, because I don't think she does have a place in this meta. I think if you want a second support, you should probably go with a Tassadar, or you go like, I think double tanks are generally better. Tassadar, Medivh are good. Karazim, Lili as a second support's not bad. But that's my opinion.
No, I mean, I don't think you're crazy or anything. I think her pick rate has been low for a while now.
Yeah.
And that ranges back to the burst meta where she felt very ineffective.
She can't deal with burst, but she can do burst better than any other support.
Correct, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like she adds more. She allows your team to capitalize and win that burst or win that sustain race, as opposed to being around to help burst. But shut up, Carl. You're wrong.
But yeah, that is it. We went through all the sports currently in Heroes of the Storm as of January 2017. So if you're listening to this later in the future, sorry we missed your favorite support that got added in July. I don't know.
It's probably going to be July till we get another support.
Yeah.
It's not fun of releasing them.
I know.
It's gonna be Lucio. I am hoping
Drop the beat
against. Yes, please, for the love of God, let it be Lucio.
I
don't care how bad I don't care how bad I am at him. Make one of the skins the Gretzky skin, and I'm in. Hands down, I will never play another hero. He will be my next 20.
My goodness.
If they release it with the Gretzky skin, because that's all I'll do.
There you heard it, Blizzard. That's all you have to do, and Zexel just plays Lucio until the end of time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, but we're gonna go into a little bit of esports news, and this is kind of intriguing news coming into HGC very shortly here. Supposedly it's supposed to start sometime this month. Blizzard hasn't announced anything officially, but I have a feeling we're gonna hear some news soon. TM. But both Denial and Astral have essentially gotten out of the Heroes of the Storm scene. They've both dropped their rosters with pretty different statements. It looks like Astral is looking for potentially another roster to sponsor. Denial, it looks like they just wanted out of the hero scene, but it's very interesting to me that the top 2 teams from North America that got direct seeds into HGC proper for 2017. Their sponsors went, we're done with you. Bye. The Astral one sound mostly like it was just the end of their contract and Astral decided not to renew. So I imagine they've got to be searching for another sponsor. I mean, and this leaves, interestingly enough, Gale Force and Naventic as kind of the big name teams that have major sponsors in HGC. And we haven't had any big name esports teams make their way into the hero scene lately. I wonder if this is kind of a precursor to some of the bigger name teams picking up some of these rosters that are now available for this HGC coming in 2017. I mean, that's guaranteed viewership, guaranteed getting your name out there in the top level of Heroes of the Storm. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of just speculation at this point. We don't really know anything outside of the public statements that both the Nile and Astral and team members of both those rosters have talked about. But what do you guys think this means for the future of Heroes? Is it a bad thing or a good thing?
I think it's a bad thing. I don't think the big teams are coming back, despite the potential benefit of the guaranteed exposure that the HGC will bring. I think they got out for a reason, and I don't think they're back. So let me play the doom and gloom card here, because I don't think this is gonna. I don't think they're gonna get sponsored, unless it's by some really weird off-brand team like Team Freedom.
Yeah, who is that? I don't even know. Like,
I don't know. It's a Dota 2 team now. Mm-hmm. From it's IX Mike's team, who has the best mustache in esports, hands down. Fight me. But like, I would love to see Team Liquid come back. It feels so weird without Team Liquid in a Blizzard game. I was holding hope for Evil Geniuses maybe making a return, but whatever.
That's not happening.
I'm done with. I've bled all my blue out at this point.
I have two, friend. I have two.
It's in a jar.
P-Flame, I'm curious what you think about this, especially coming from a league background where they have this structure already in place. This is new, obviously, for Heroes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was pretty surprised because I thought this was going to bring a lot of the stability and just awareness that sponsors want. That are like, oh, this team is actually going to play on stage every week for the next 10 weeks. You know, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is what the sponsors want. And they pulled out. And so I don't really understand it. If Astral, like you said, if they're actually looking for another team and they're looking for like an EU team or a Chinese team, they're saying NA has done horribly at the last couple of global events, then okay, I understand that. They're still in Heroes. They like where it's going, but they don't think NA is the place where they're going to get their money's worth. I can't really blame them because NA looks awful right now. But
it's
I don't know.
True.
I'm laughing because that's the understate of the year right there. It's January 3rd and we've already had the understatement of the year. Just give them the award. It's done.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like I said, I was expecting more sponsors to come in, not immediately, but like a couple weeks into the thing where they see, okay, this is getting viewers, this is being well funded, these teams are playing consistently, it's looking good, we get more sponsors in, their stable rosters and everything. I have hope that that'll happen eventually as HCC continues and as this stable format continues. Before it was like, well, if you weren't a top 2 team, nobody knew what your team name was and you didn't win any money. It's not the case anymore. Which is why I'm confused. But I hope that as the system continues, teams will be like, okay, yeah, that's something I want to be a part of. So Like,
My
this
question
pulling
is,
out's not good for Heroes, but I don't think
No.
it's like the end of Heroes.
now my question is, did they keep like in the case of Astral, did they keep like Artemis on board?
Yes.
They did keep her on board as the manager.
The team keeps
Well, the
her on
team
board as
keep
the
her on board,
manager.
yeah.
The organization does not have her as a manager.
Okay,
She
so
goes with
she was okay. That was my question because some managers stick around.
Mhm.
You know, after a team leaves, and then they just start with whatever team is dropped in their lap. So
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay, so gotcha.
Balrog fan, any thoughts on this? I mean, there's not a whole lot of information other than that these teams are pulling, or these organizations are pulling out of Heroes.
Yeah, I really don't know where this is coming from. I could speculate different theories, but I mean, I'd just end up looking like Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny with the Pepe Sylvia board back here. I don't know why they did this. The timing of it's very weird. The fact that we're on the verge of starting HGC and NA is going to finally be in a constantly competitive format, which in theory should grow their skills consistently as opposed to the way it was done before. These are big name players who, they didn't get the prize. They didn't win the big prize this year, and they didn't look particularly great on the biggest stage, but it's not like they're bad players. They're all pretty recognizable names if you follow Heroes Esports. I have no idea why. I'm guessing it's money driven. I mean, that's the I'm sure actually that it's money
It has to
driven.
be money driven. I just don't know what.
Yeah,
money-driven.
I don't think it's out of the question to suggest that Blizzard providing these players with stipends for being in the tournament might be influencing that a bit as well. I just don't know if that's Blizzard coming in and saying, "Hey, we got this. If you sponsors want us to walk away from this," or if it's sponsors saying, you know, Blizzard has too much of a control in this and we're not interested.
Yeah, now it brings up the question, and I'd have to ask around or look at whatever the regulations are for HGC. Does this mean that Blizzard basically owns the teams now? If they're not signed to some organization or something? That's a question that should probably be answered soon here. And I want to go back to Riot and League basically, because I don't believe Riot owns any of the teams, is how the structure is. But I can't remember because their structure is kind of complex.
There is something because Riot does pay the players some amount.
Yeah, correct. They do play them.
So I think the players are under some sort of contract, but they're also contracted under their org, and the org does not report to Riot. So I'm not sure how that relationship works. But
yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what kind of contracts Blizzard is going to have these teams and orgs sign going forward, because Riot has in the past kind of really brought the hammer down on teams. I hate to bring up this old drama, but the old Evil Geniuses / Alliance drama in Riot, or basically they forced them to sell off those teams because they're like, oh, there's one organization owning both these teams and we can't have that. And Riot law goes basically when you control who's allowed to play in your league or not. That's the final
they did
word.
that about a year ago, where there was one guy had shares in multiple teams and stuff, and he was banned from being a part of competitive league for a couple years. And
Yeah.
the orgs had to drop their teams or something. And
Yeah, the
That
fun
just-
part
yes.
about that story is I actually know the person who owned that team. That was a fun time.
We need a Hollywood siren that goes off every time you name drop.
All right, well, I want to move on to our last segment really quickly because hopefully Blizzard will fix this and we won't have to ever talk about this again. But what's hot on Reddit this week is apparently there's been a bug for Raynor that's existed for quite a while, it sounds like, but now it's really getting traction because people are aware of it. Essentially, the auto attack talent applied to the Hyperion heroic for Raynor, and that means lots and lots and lots of damage. So looking at his win rate, he is currently at a 54.9% win rate, which is a little bit scary because he's creeping up there pretty quickly. But if you look at the talent build breakdown, it is literally unanimously the auto attack build across the board. 90% popularity for Seasoned Marksman, 85 for Focus Attack, Revolution Overdrive of 77, 96.7% for Hyperion, Giant Killer at 92.9%, 67% for Executioner, and 84.7% for Nexus Frenzy. This has to be a bug, right? I know, Zex, you're thinking it's not, but...
Has this been around the entirety of Raynor's existence, or is this new?
I think this is new. I don't think it's been around the entirety of his existence. I feel like this would have been caught earlier, were that the case.
Because if it's new, then it's definitely a bug.
Yeah, when I was pushing Raynor to 10, he definitely didn't feel, and that was fairly recently. That was in November. He didn't feel that strong, and I was taking Hyperion, so I feel like I would have. I felt like I was being tortured while playing Raynor, and if I was able to have a 55% win rate consistently, I would have noticed it and been like, "Man, Raynor is sweet, guys."
I mean, because
I just remember
like that,
all those games we played together all of a sudden.
Yeah, they were awful.
If his numbers are bad, he'll be bad. Even with a bug like that. So it's possible that he's been like this forever, and he's strong right now, and people are realizing the auto attack things like, oh, this is why he's 55%. But it's like, well, he was 45% at one point, and if he still had that bug, then how bad was he really? But
I have no problems with this bug, for the record. I have zero problems with this bug.
I do, because it's unintuitive.
How? Mm-hmm. Elaborate.
Because
you push a button and you win.
No, but because you don't expect... It says this applies to your auto attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Hyperion is not Raynor, and it's not even really an auto attack as you'd imagine it. And
but
so
the ship's auto attacking with its lasers from space.
Okay, but it's still a ship and not a Raynor. It's like I said, it's unintuitive.
Maybe
when you
Rainer's
pick
got
Seasoned
remote
Marksman,
control.
like a week ago, when you picked Seasoned Marksman, you're like, is this going to buff Hyperion? You said no, right? It took us this long to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And unless they update the tooltips and say your basic attacks and Hyperion damage is buffed by 0.2 every time you outlasted a minion, then you don't want hidden things like that in the game. Especially for a game like Heroes that tries to be accessible on their most accessible hero.
This build alone has 63% win rate. That's problematic.
Here's why I don't have a problem with this particular bug. Because if you blind Raynor, Hyperion does nothing during the duration of the blind. It does 0. So you go from all that attack, all that potential damage to Jack because Johanna hit him with the shield glare.
But
it will essentially make it a wasted ult.
Is picking heroes against that
Johanna's
bug,
a strong
though,
tank anyways.
I mean, you already picked blinds against Raynor. That's how you counter him. He's an auto attack hero.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't really have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's why I actually don't have a problem with it, because with a basic ability, you're basically stuffing an ult, a buffed ult, no less. So that makes it just as much of big of a risk to pick it as it is taking it. Now, if you get it off and it does its work, great. But if that blinder is nearby, congrats, you just burned like a 100-second cooldown ult. And got 100-second ult cooldown, and got maybe a few seconds of benefit out of it.
Something's definitely wrong. I mean, Raynor, before this was discovered and he started getting picked, picking Raynor was the equivalent of going to Baskin-Robbins and picking vanilla ice cream. Like, why are you going to do that when you have, like, Rocky Road and pimento and, like, all this crazy 31 other flavors? something's wrong with Raynor. There's nobody would be picking him as much as he is all of a sudden unless something wasn't wrong, because he's been around forever. There are no Raynor mains. No one's like, yes, Jim Raynor, my hero. Pro teams like locking in that Raynor first pick, and then like the other team trembling, like, oh, I can't believe we didn't ban Raynor. Like, something's wrong with him.
Now let me ask you: is this Hyperion bug the sprinkles on the vanilla ice cream because you felt a little freaky?
Yeah. No, this is like special limited edition ice cream that's coming out for a very short period of time before it's taken off the shelves, and he goes back to being vanilla.
Oh, side note. Oh my God, it's an Aya.
Yeah, I was about to say, I just saw Aya come up in chat. How you doing, man? Always good to see you. Oh man, but yeah, Raynor doing things to the meta. Oh my goodness. Do you think it's ban worthy at this point, where you have to waste a ban on Raynor? Because I feel like I've been watching a lot of heroes lately and not seeing people really necessarily ban him and just kind of let him through.
I mean, I got a comp in your league today with Raynor, Thrall, Rhaegar, and my team was like, "That's it, we won."
Yeah, he's
Did
still
you win?
12th.
No. We had a Nova.
They took that vanilla ice cream and threw it on the ground.
We had a Nova after that.
Oh jeez.
And then we got down. We were down like a level from like level 9 to level like 18 or something. But we were starting to do okay in fights. By the time that happened, we had 1 keep left. So that's Blackguard's Bay for you.
Yeah, that'll do that. Any closing thoughts on Raynor before we close out the show? I thought we were going to have a short show this week, but you guys proved me wrong.
9 minutes.
Raynor's, I mean, he's got the 3rd most games played last week, and he is 12th on the most ban list. So Morales is somehow seeing more bans than Raynor, which I don't understand.
Everybody platinum and below Morales.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, there's that.
Did y'all see that Reddit post? It was like a Silver's like comment on Masters and Grandmasters players.
Yes.
Link that.
That was amazing.
I loved that.
Oh my goodness.
It was like, man, they never ban Morales. They don't first pick Nova. They don't put any value on Gazlo.
I honestly I submitted that hoping we would pick that for our what's hot on Reddit, because it was a thing of beauty how well that thing was written.
It was amazing. It was my favorite Heroes of the Storm Reddit post I've seen in months.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
Oh, it's pretty good. Make sure to definitely check it out.
that.
Oh, there it is. It's in chat for those of you watching live. Master players focus on killing all the tiny things, so you should kill the big things while they're busy.
They what is it, like they wiggle around a lot for no reason.
They get the shakes from playing so many games.
We forget that camps are there.
My favorite thing is the first one. Master and GM players really fear Nova. If you tune into a GM stream, they're constantly worried about snipers and getting sniped. Oh my goodness. But yeah, check out that thread. It's called The Silver Players Observations on Master GM Hero League. Check out the thread, and I think we're going to close out the show. This has been a really fun show. Glad to have you all back and talking about heroes, and this has been episode 87. We'll be playing our Patreon and viewer games coming up right after this. Make sure to join the Blizzard channel, chat channel in the Heroes client /join space BlizzPro. We'll get you there and sound off in there, and we'll get you in some games. If we have enough, we'll do some ARAMs, or we might just do some unranked draft. We'll have to see how many people are there, as well as patreon.com/heroespower. Helps support the show and all the assorted costs with running the show. Bunch of different hosts, hardware we have to deal with, and everything that comes up with that really helps us out. And you can check that out at patreon.com/heroespowerhour. And Zex, do we have anything else to talk about with the Patreon?
You really caught me off guard there. Oh my god! Do you think I'd be
Sorry.
used to doing this little bit by now? You'd think. I don't have the Patreon list in front of me. I know this month I put in $25 myself because I want that sweet T-shirt. To be perfectly honest, that's $25 tier. You get a T-shirt. You can see the logo in the middle of the screen. I just realized Dread fixed that for us, so now we've got the sweet little T-shirt logo on our overlay. I think that's pretty dope.
With 15... our Lenovo Gaming and Intel sponsor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get them sponsors in. And let's see here. $15. Send us replays, please. Send us the replays. We'll cast them for you. I'll do my bedroom voice.
Or you can ask explicitly not to hear Zex's bedroom voice if you want to sleep at night.
Carl, don't you want to hear my bedroom voice? Why are you acting like this, Carl? It's okay. I'll take care of you. But, send us your replays.
Yeah.
It'll get creepy, I promise.
I need an adult.
I am an adult.
Oh my goodness.
Let's make it super weird, guys.
It's getting real weird.
It's getting real weird in here. I don't feel safe, Rick. We do have a gold tier where you can make us play a hero. You can bank the pick if you want. Save it for later.
That's the $5 tier, right?
Yep, that's a $5 tier. I know Shadow has made me play heroes I don't like before because he's a jerk, and I haven't timed him out today. And we even have a just $1 tier where we'll shout you out once a show, and which I'm gonna do right now. Shout outs to me. I donate. I put my money where my mouth is. I believe in the show, so I give my own money to all of us. Our boss man, Mr. Cook. We got Shadow and Carl, all giving $5. We've got Josh, Banestar, and Christy, all donating $1 each. Thank you so much, guys. We love you. You never have to donate, but we really love it because it goes a long way in helping out when things go wrong on the show. It helps us pay server costs and stuff like that, and it's a good way to make yourself feel good.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
By giving to those less fortunate than you.
For sure.
For $1, you can feed a hungry podcast host. / Sally Struthers.
Oh my goodness.
I'm done. I'm out.
All right, that's it. But as always, check out heroesofthestorm.blizpro.com for all the awesome articles that Alebeard puts up, as well as the build articles that do get put up as well. And as always, youtube.com/BlizzPro, where you can catch previous episodes of this show, as well as all our other wonderful Blizz Pro podcasts. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific is West March Workshop. Season 9 of Diablo is coming up very soon this week, and make sure to check out their show for all the details on that and more. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific is the Payload podcast for Overwatch, which I am a part of. No show this week, but join us next week as we'll be talking about all the new stuff in Overwatch as the new map got released today, which I haven't had a chance to check out. And then Sundays at 7 p.m. Pacific is Well Met for Hearthstone, which is in a really interesting spot. Hearthstone's really fun, though. I really like the game after picking it up again. So, yeah, make sure to check out John and all the wonderful folks over there. And as well, we actually do have a Warcraft podcast started up. And there we go. There it is. Arcane Analysis. Make sure to check that out on warcraft.blizpro.com. They have their first episode up with Ferixa, Elena, and Kitchen Wow. So
is that how you say her name?
That is how you say her name. You can ask her, and she will tell you that I pronounced it correctly.
There you go. It's KTJN.
KTJN.
So it's very hard to understand. unless
Yeah.
you're Russian.
Yeah, there you go. And as always, check us out on discord.blizzpro.com. We have people in there talking all the Blizzard games there all week, as well as coordinating some of our post-game show matches there. So make sure to check that out. And this has been episode 87 of the Heroes Power Hour, brought to you by blizzpro.com and powered by Lenovo Gaming and Intel. We will see you next week for more Heroes of the Storm action. Stay tight.